What's up, everybody? It's Dre P. Lotus Harris, and I'm here with week 2 of Brandon Bill Institute. And today we're going to talk about business idea validation and market research. Okay, let's be real. Most people build businesses that nobody asked for. And why is that? Because they jump out here with a strategy that they've maybe seen it work for somebody else, or they maybe even seen it work somewhere else, but it doesn't work for them. It doesn't work where they're at. And it doesn't work for the people that they're talking to. And why is that? Because they didn't do the research. They didn't validate the idea. So is your business idea valid? Is it valid? Is it needed? Do people want it? And how do you know if people want it? How do you find out if people want what you're offering? How do you find out if it's even people out there willing to buy what you're selling? Okay, you can make a bunch of t-shirts with a giraffe on it, but why? Who wants to buy a t-shirt with a giraffe on it? Did you do the research to find out who wants to buy that before you went and made 100 of those t-shirts? And that might sound crazy, right? Especially if you live in a place where people love zebras, and you completely missed out on the opportunity to make t-shirts with zebras on it because you like giraffes and you wanted to make 100 t-shirts with giraffes. And that illustration, that is what we see every single day with people and their business ideas that are not validated. You're doing what you like, you're doing what you want, but the whole point of having a business, being an entrepreneur, is to serve, is to solve problems. And when we're talking about problems, we're going to talk about profitable problems. Okay, so what did I say? Entrepreneurs, we solve problems, right? So we want to solve profitable problems. You want to find out what problems do people have that you can solve that they see as valuable, and they're willing to exchange money for you solving those problems. That's what you want to find, right? You can't just start an idea that doesn't solve anyone's problem because you're not going to be successful with that. So I want you to understand that pain is greater than passion. And when I say pain is greater than passion, I mean pain is a greater motivating force than passion. Pain will make you move faster than passion. People will move faster to get away from pain than they will to get towards pleasure. So if you're in pain, you want that pain to stop. That's the pain stopping is more important than gaining some pleasure in that moment, right? So let's focus on the pain that people have, okay? That's the first thing you want to figure out. What problems do people have? Profitable problems, urgency. When people have pain, there's urgency. There's an urgency to get it fixed. There's an urgency to get it done. So if you focus on people's pain points, then you're already dealing with people who have a sense of urgency. Like they want to get it done more than you do. So let's find the people's pain points and figure out how we can solve those problems. And then there again is willingness to pay. What is their willingness to pay you to solve their problem? There's a lot of different ways that you can figure that out, but that is very important because you could find a big group of people that have a problem and you can solve it, but the only problem is they're not willing to pay. So it's important to make sure that you're targeting a market that has a problem and they're also willing to pay you to solve that problem. And to figure all this out, you're gonna have to do some research. You're gonna have to do some research. You're gonna have to talk to some people. You're gonna have to do some case studies. You're gonna have to get out here, test out your product or service. Do you have people that are willing to pay for the most basic version of your service? Do you have people that that will tell you that they're willing to pay for the most premium version of your service or your product? Are you even having those conversations? And that's what research comes down to. When I talk about research for your business, that's all it is. It's having conversations, taking down data, reading comments, getting feedback from people who use your service or use your product, That's what research is. Are you doing that? Are you researching the other businesses around you? Perhaps maybe competitors? Are you researching your niche? Do you have a niche? That's my next question. You know, because after you've researched and you found a certain pain point that you want to focus in on, that you want to solve, a certain problem that you want to solve, now let's go ahead and niche down. I know you've heard of the word niche or niche, whatever you want to call it, but let's do that. All right. So niche clarity. Do you have clarity about your niche? You know, have you decided what your niche is? Have you narrowed it down? Remember, specific is better than broad. So having a specific niche is better than having a broad niche. So the more you narrow it down, the better it is, because you're able to focus on that specific pain point and build the credibility, market yourself, build your brand as the go-to person for that specific problem. And in order to establish yourself as a go-to person for a specific problem, you have to focus on people with that problem. You can't be an eye doctor, but you want to work on toes and feet and knees and elbows, but you claim to be an expert eye doctor and you want to be known as an eye doctor and you want to get eye doctor clients. Like, you kind of got to focus on the people who have eye problems. You understand what I'm saying? You got to focus on the people that you serve, the people that you're set up to provide the service for. And if you don't know who those people are, then you're not going to be able to establish yourself as an expert. And when you try to be everything for everybody, you end up spreading yourself thin. So part of branding is figuring out what is your niche, who are the people that you serve, and how can you communicate and focus on them and provide whatever they need and provide more value to them to where they're willing to exchange money for what you're providing for them. And that's why branding, it kind of naturally translates into community, because by choosing your niche and your specialty, you're automatically going to have a tribe built of people who relate to what you're doing, or they see the value in what you're doing. And that's how you're able to build that community of people that have bought into you. And that's what you need. You got to have a community of people. That's what branding does for you. And that's what we show you how to do, is basically build your brand and structure it into a community where you are providing value for that community. But before you can build a community, you have to decide what type of community, and that's a part of deciding what your niche is. So you want to be specific. The more specific you can be in the front end about your niche and who you help, the more likely you are for success. And that's what we're going to say about that. All right, so what else did they say? Have you heard this? Riches in the niches. Okay, so there's riches in the niches. If you can be as specific as possible, try to be as specific as possible. I mean, if you help people who are left-handed learn how to juggle bowling pins, blindfolded, standing on one foot, if that's who you help, then that's who you need to try to reach. And if it's that specific, that's good for you, because if you can build a community of those people, that can sustain your business forever. But when you're trying to be everything to everybody, now you never know. You can't measure it. There's not really it's not really predictable. But when you have a certain group of people that you know that you're serving, you know that you're always going to have those people that you can provide value to, because they're already tapped into you. The last concept we're going to go over here is, so this concept is competitor analysis framework. Okay, so another thing you want to analyze is your competitors. So how do you analyze your competitors? There's a few key things to look at when it comes to competitors, because this is a part of your research. You got to research the things around you and the people around you, different businesses and the people you want to serve, and then the other businesses in your market, to see what's going on. That way you can actually validate your idea. So when you're looking at your competitors, you want to ask yourself who they serve. Who do your competitors serve? Do they serve the same people you serve, or do they serve different people? And you see, and you will know that if you know what your niche is. If you know who the people are that you're focused on, that's how you might realize that somebody might do something similar to what you do, But when you do the proper research and like really analyze who do they actually serve, that's when you realize that they don't even serve the same people that you serve. You might be in your own lane, and it's best to be in your own lane. It's best to not do what everybody's doing. It's best to not do the most popular thing. It's best to do the thing that most people don't want to do. That's where the money's at. And most people don't want to niche down and focus on a specific group of people. That's why it's money in the niches. So figure out who they serve and understand if they're even a competitor or not. Because if they're not serving the same people you serve, they're not necessarily even a competitor. Pricing. Now pricing, that can go either way. Okay, so you might charge more than your competitor, and that's not always a problem. You have a better product, which you should be focused on, having superior product, premium products. So yeah, you might charge more than your competitor, but let's make sure that you're also providing more value than your competitor. So pricing should be based on value. The price of your product or service should be based on the value that you bring, and always make sure that the value is more than the price. That's when people will always be willing to pay for it. So just make sure of that. So in your pricing, if your value is more than the price, you won't have a problem with that. Even if your competitors charge less than you, that's okay. You focus on value, and your price is about the value. So you're going for the people that want the value you provide. So if they want a cheaper product, they can go to your competitors. And that's why I say, if your competitors are going after the people who want the cheaper product, then they're technically not even going after the same people that you serve. Like, they can have those people. And that's why it works out. When you have a focus and you know who you're going after, pricing is really what will separate you from your competitors. Having a higher price and providing higher value, that's actually a competitive advantage for you, because you're more likely to be profitable in your business because you find out how to provide value, not just a cheap product or a cheap service. You figured out how to provide value. Premium service, gaps. Be aware of any gaps that your competition might have, because there could be gaps in competition. There could be ways that you can fit yourself into the equation, and it could be ways that you can take advantage of certain situations. So do your research. Find out who are the underserved people in your market. Who are the people that the competitors might be overlooking? That's where the research comes in. And that's how you validate your business idea, because part of validating your business idea could be the fact that you serve people that your competitors have been ignoring. You're serving an underserved market, and that's your competitive advantage. That's the advantage you have over your competitors. So be aware of that. Be aware of where your competitors lack. And those are the ways that you validate your business idea and do market research. Those things are very important before you actually open your business. So we're still talking about things you do before you actually open your business. But by the end of this 12-week course, we're gonna have you guys businesses established, structured, ready to open, ready to launch your brand and everything. So just stick with us, and there's a lot to come. But I wanna walk you through the process so you don't miss any steps, and make sure that you go through these assignments and you think them through and do them the right way, because you're only cheating yourself if you don't really think this through. Because the more you think through each assignment, the better off the final business plan is gonna be. But that's it for week 2. Make sure y'all get the assignments done, and let us know if you got any questions. Tune into the live stream.